From world-ending threats to the most depraved of souls, every major sin has a perfect match flying in the universe of Invincible. Today, we will break them down one by one, starting with the sin of lust. Lust, definition, an intense craving for physical pleasure, especially sexual. We're talking objectification, addiction to pornography, and infidelity. I know who a lot of people would put on here. Some of you heathens want her to give you the same experience she gave Mark. Get help. My selection is Alan's girlfriend. Let me cook. Alan comes home, and before my man kicks off his boots, the only thing that's on her mind is getting that bow chicka wow wow. She doesn't let my man rest and recover after flying across the galaxy, just wants to get straight to it. You may say everyone wants some, that's not enough to put her on this list, but I want to refer to the Alan issue of the comics.
Did you miss me?
Oh, I missed you.
Yeah, how much?
The most, or like 10 times that amount.
That girl is insatiable. If you didn't know, my boy Alan is not allowed to do the deed. He has a deposit cycle coming up, but she goes out of her way to convince my boy to give it up, telling her, your race can create kids in pods, but yeah, this is more fun. Even at dinner, after getting put through the mattress, she's still looking at Alan like, yo, you're dessert. And speaking of being completely consumed by emotion, wait till you see what happens when rage takes over. Wrath. Extreme anger, rage, or hatred that leads to violence or revenge. Why it's deadly? It destroys relationship and leads to irrational decisions.
I won't rest until I've killed!
The person who encapsulates this for me is Angstrom Levy. Angstrom was trying to unify the minds of his variants with the help of the Mauler twins, but the experiment blew up in his face, leading to a rage-fueled monster who wants to destroy Mark. This man's anger led to so much violence, bro. He tortured a mom and their baby, destroyed the major cities on Earth using Mark variants, and his rage made him lock in on the one good Mark. This man partnered with a variant who offed his kid in one reality. This man is cooked. And honestly, if wrath is being blinded by rage, pride is about thinking you're above it all, and everyone too. Pride. Pride is an inflated sense of one's status or accomplishment, considered the root of all the other sins because it puts self above others and even above God. We're talking arrogance, narcissism, entitlement. My pick here is mid-mortal. I just think he has an inflated sense of self. When he came back after the mustache incident, landing at Guardians HQ, he was the man in charge, but since then, there has been zero feat to justify his position as the head honcho, taking nothing but L on L on L. During the Mars mission, Mark tries to help and take over the final stage of defeating the Sequids, and his reply is,
How dare you!
not even taking the time to consider what could be happening. If Mark didn't put his foot down, he might have lost it. He comes in hard thinking he is the best solution for an approaching alien. Even if he was right that it was Omni-Man, you lost that fight. Twice. But his ego gets in the way of making rational decisions. He thinks he's correct all the time. His ego wouldn't let him hear Alan out until Mark helped. Straight bozo. Also, this man was terrorizing the earth as king and said he wanted to die, but had so much pride he said suicide is the coward's way out. Pick a struggle, my guy. Speaking of struggles, next up is a sin that makes people crave what's not even meant for them. Envy. Envy is jealousy towards another's trait, status, abilities, or situation. It breeds resentment and dissatisfaction. We're talking sabotaging people and chronic comparison.
I am changing my name from Rudy to Rex.
My pick here is the one and only Rudy. I think it's clear why. This man saw the girl he had a crush on look at another man with a twinkle in her eye and decided to steal his entire flow. Even when that man met his maker, he decided, I will take your entire identity, bro. And we don't stop there. In the comics, Monster Girl has a crush on Bulletproof and makes all sorts of advances towards him. And you know what he does? He reprimands her pretending Bulletproof has been complaining. He makes it an HR issue. Bro was so jealous of Bulletproof, he decided to use his power as leader of the Guardians to stop this girl in her tracks. Pure obsession. And if you thought that's obsessive, wait till you meet someone with an appetite they literally can't control. Gluttony, overindulgence, particularly with food and drink, and it reflects a lack of self-control and can distract from spiritual growth or moral growth. Basically, excess consumption. My pick here is Battle Beast. I know it's not about food, but I do argue that he has an insatiable hunger, a hunger for battle. The first time we meet him, he fights the Guardians and Mark in hopes of satisfying this urge. No other reason. He does not have a dog in this Titan versus Machine Head squabble. Even a few episodes later, bro, we see him captured in a Viltrumite prison, but all he is thinking about is his desire for battle, especially at the prospect of fighting Viltrumites. Even when this man is pushed out into the vacuum of space, he still wants to throw hands. At the end of the episode, he is frozen, my guy. But when he thaws, guess what this man says? I was tempted to put him as Raph, but this makes more sense to me. And honestly, craving violence is one thing. Craving power and wealth at the cost of others, that's a whole different beast. Which leads us to greed, an insatiable desire for wealth, possessions, or power. We're talking consumerism, exploitation, and hoarding wealth. My pick here is the entire Viltrum Empire.
Viltrum was already the greatest empire in our galaxy. We decided to make it the only empire in our galaxy.
Their entire shtick is greed. These guys were blessed to be the most powerful beings in the universe, advanced technology, and living for thousands of years. And you know what they said? Not enough. They went out of their way to conquer other planets and steal their resources, which doesn't even make sense anymore. There's like 50 pure blood Viltrumites. You guys don't need these resources. It's that simple, bro. I don't think I need to make my case here. The Viltrumites were actually doing the most. But here's one guy who, well, kinda did the least. Sloth, which is basically laziness or the failure to act and utilize one's talents. It leads to a wasted life and neglect of responsibilities or growth. We're talking procrastination, apathy, avoiding purpose or effort. My pick here is Black Samson. I know it's weird, but let me cook. I just think he's been useless. All he adds to the team is motivational speeches. I was watching the show again and I was like, after getting your powers back, you have 0 feats, bro. I have nothing to talk about when it comes to you. He does not live up to his name. He was an original, and I mean original, member of the Guardians of the Globe. But what has he achieved, bro? Tell me. And honestly, while not being 100% lazy, I think he fails to act in a way that fully embraces his potential. Al. And maybe that's the worst sin of all, wasting what little time and power you have. So there you have it. All 7 deadly sins now officially cast in the world of Invincible. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you switch them around? Let me know in the comments.